Today, I'm going to show you guys a technique that I've used, what Rupert and I have used over the past, this is something that we do on a normal basis, but this has made me millions and allowed me to significantly outperform the market over the past 6 months. I mean, if you've been watching this, you've been noticing, if you've been watching this channel, you've been noticing what I've been doing, but maybe not exactly the method, or it hasn't been so obvious. So due to popular demand, today we're going to go through some of the strategies that I've used, and it's really a way to look for particular narratives. You know that we talk about narratives a lot. And then you want to identify a catalyst, something that's going to make that narrative explode, and identify the projects within those combinations and try to get there before everybody else. That allows you to really, really maximize gains here. If you guys are excited to learn about this, excited for the weekend, I don't know, it's whatever. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. And those of you guys who are subscribed, thank you. Really appreciate it. And let's dive into the content here. So, of course, Bitcoin is looking sideways. Altcoins not doing so well. Like I said, every day I'm just sitting on the sidelines waiting for a positive upward momentum, and we'll trade into momentum when that happens. But for now, we're just gonna kick it on the sideline. And like I've said before, when things are slow, it's probably a good time to learn. And that's why I thought today we could do a bit of discussions around ways to identify opportunities in the market. First, I'm just going to help give you some philosophy about what's going on, my philosophy about what's going on in the markets right now. So the odd thing is that you got 2 straight days in a row of negative outflows in the ETFs. Now, people think that this is a bear market. I find it really, really weird that BlackRock would go from, $100 billion a day of inflow, 50 million, to essentially 2 0 days. Like, it just seems quite strange. Now, I have a thesis here. Maybe it's like, I don't know. It's just something that I thought about. Maybe, since we believe that the Ethereum ETF will be approved in May, probably. I mean, likely. And there's not a lot of chatter about it, but like that's within the next month or so. Maybe what they're doing is, instead of, maybe they're calling up everyone that they've been calling up, and instead of them trying to sell Bitcoin, they could be like, hey, yo, what's up, Bob? This is Larry over at BlackRock. As you know, we've been having the Bitcoin ETFs. They've been doing phenomenally well. They're up X% since we started. Bitcoin has had one hell of a run this year, but it hasn't had a big run yet is Ethereum. And we have some inside information that Ethereum the ETF will be approved, and we think that that's going to outperform Bitcoin in the short to medium term. How does that sound to you, right? Oh yeah, that sounds good, sign me up. So maybe that's happening right now. Maybe they're preparing because just like when the Bitcoin ETFs happened, the BlackRock had a huge, they had a huge lead, and like we've been seeing, it's a winner takes most environment. So maybe right now they're prepping for the Ethereum. That's what I can think of right now. It's like, it seems like the obvious play to me here is that as an investment advisor, you would want to try to find the best possible upside for the people in which you are advising. And so, since Ethereum has been lagging, yet one of the most critical pieces of infrastructure in the world, it seems like it would make a lot of sense that that's maybe what's going on. Despite the 0 days, the BlackRock ETF has had the world record, as it ended its 71-day streak of inflows and no inflows. It's shattered every single record in ETF history for everything. Just interesting information. And this is something that I thought was interesting. You had Lubify says, I haven't seen ETH NFTs bounce like this in an entire year. So these are all the ETH ETFs, and you can see, like, in the last week, you've got something like Bored Ape Yachts, a 50% increase over the past week. Mutants, 60% increase. So maybe we're starting to see that Ethereum narrative come back. I think, again, for those who faded or didn't buy Bitcoin pre-ETF, we knew about it for many months, right? And then, and now it's obviously significantly higher than when we first started talking about like a year, like very bullish, like a year before it happened, right? What's interesting here is to show you how severe these ETFs have been on the buy pressure of Bitcoin. So you can see this orange or whatever down here is long-term holders. I don't know if you can see if my head's in the way or not, but I don't have two screens here as I'm traveling. But hopefully you can see this. Anyway, so I'll just make it small again so I know that you can. So this purple is where new money has basically come in, new long-term holders. It's on average 2x more than the long-term OG holders. I think the obvious reason for this is that the new participants are more institutional. They've got more money, making larger buys, whereas this is a value, and probably a lot of this was accumulated, back in these early days. This is just because essentially value, increasing in the Bitcoin over time. So, yeah, I mean, anyway, so, okay, so you have just some more data here on the people, the kind of investment advisors, wealth funds, things like that are buying up these spot Bitcoin ETFs. This is just a snapshot of, because they were doing the earnings reports, and so these investment managers have to be transparent and publicly post their holdings. And so we can see here everyone who's at BlackRock, everyone here who's in Fidelity ETF, the spot ETF. Here it's everyone. It's in the B, whatever it's called. I forget that. And then everyone in ARCs, and so on and so forth. And Morgan Stanley is about to enter the race. Well, not enter the race, but actually adding more Bitcoin exposure into their portfolio. So you can see that here it says, Morgan Stanley filed a prospectus to add Bitcoin exposure in two of their funds, the Discovery portfolio and the Growth portfolio. They also, you can see over here, they also have, Morgan Stanley also filed for Bitcoin ETF exposure in a dozen funds earlier this month. So this would be, if it's all good, that'd be 14 different funds that Morgan Stanley runs that all will have Bitcoin exposure directly. And Morgan Stanley manages $1.5 trillion, which is nuts to think about. So as we move on here, Andrew says, an army of wealth advisors are about to be activated by major banks for the biggest product launch in over a decade. Hong Kong ETF slated to launch on Monday, very soon. This is ETF wave number 2, and Andrew's predicting $80,000 of Bitcoin by May. So what do you think is going to happen to our alts? And touching 100K by end of summer. Sol goes to new highs, and memes are beta plays. So James Safart's talking about the fee wars, exact same thing that happening over in the East as happened in the West. Different managers are trying to compete for market share, because it is a winner takes most environment. And guys, this is very common where we are right now. So you can see, like, oftentimes you have this halving, and then you have this chopping sideways consolidation or reaccumulation phase. Chopping sideways, reaccumulation phase. Chopping sideways, reaccumulation phase is what we're doing right now. And then we're here, and then it's the up only phase. So this is very common what we're seeing in the market right now. This is why I'm not worried about it. It's just the different phases that we go through, and it seems like this is kind of just the time it's taken from the essentially in this reaccumulation phase to hit that breakout point. And he says right now we're at 7 weeks. The prior cycle was 3 weeks and 8 weeks. So it could be any day now that we see ourselves start to enter into that up only section of the bull market, which is the most fun part, but you got to be prepared for it. So big news in America. You have Joe Lubin, who runs Consensus. So you don't know what Consensus is. It is Joe Lubin's one of the co-founders of Ethereum, along with Vitalik. And it basically, MetaMask, the wallet that we all use, got a Wells notice from the SEC saying that they were going to be sued. And so Joe Lubin and Consensus said, F that, we're going to sue you first. And so this is great because they're going to be trying to fight and get clarity from the court on what is Ethereum, essentially. And this is the request in the lawsuit. So again, it's the crypto companies here who have to battle to try to get clarity in America on what the rules are, as they're unclear. And this is where I don't have it. This is pulled up somewhere here. I don't know what it is. There was another piece of news too, where the main developers of Samurai wallets, which probably most of you guys aren't familiar with, it was used back in the day for Bitcoin to help obfuscate or basically make your transactions private. I used it all the time back in the day, not because I was doing anything illegal, but because I just wanted to have private transactions. This privacy should be our own human right to have privacy, right? So what's scary is that when these things happen, your information, your IP address, who you are, all of your digital fingerprint is now exposed to all these agencies, to whatever leaks. And so that's why it's really important, guys, to be using a VPN. This is one of the channel partners, of course, and which just means that you guys get a huge discount. And it makes it it just seems incredibly silly if you're not using something that's so cheap. This is I think it's $3. What is it, $3 a month or something? It's very cheap. I don't remember, but it's basically 60% off. Plus, you get, if you do 2 years, you get 4 months of extra time. You can see right now, I intentionally have it switched off so I can show you that I'm traveling right now. I'm in Bangkok. My IP address is exposed. I'm protected. My internet service providers here, and there's much more information they can find out about me, my location, who I am, this kind of stuff, if I'm not using something like NordVPN. So guys, there is a link in the description below. Make sure you use that to get your bonus. It's literally a no-brainer. It's one of the best things you can do to protect yourself if you're in crypto, obviously. Okay, guys, so today, now we're going to get into the kind of lesson here. You have essentially narratives and catalysts, right? And not just for layer ones and layer twos, but any kind of narrative and a catalyst, right? So an AI is a narrative. And BitTensor might be the catalyst, or AI can be the narrative, and NVIDIA conference might be a catalyst. And then we have to try to identify projects that fit within those narratives and that either create that catalyst or are in line with that narrative and catalyst. So I'm not going to go through all of these, but just some examples are Ethereum, and you have restaking, right? And then you have the Athena and Pendle projects that became popular from that. I would also say Eigenlayer. Where's that? And then you've got Phantom, Paralyzed EVM plus Sonic Upgrade. Bitcoin Runes was a recent one. Bitcoin L2s, obviously. So let's go back and just show you some examples of some things that I've talked about before. A massive correction in the Bitcoin and crypto markets. I'm talking about Bitcoin dropping 25% and altcoins much more than that, maybe 60%. The question is, when is that going to happen? After the approval of the SEC, I think what's going to happen is I think we're going to chop sideways. Then when we get the approval, either 8th or the 10th, bam, I think it's going to shoot up, have a small little dip after that, and then it's going to go back up all the way until it starts trading somewhere around the $60,000 mark. And we're probably going to get about a 25% correction. Alts will correct even harder because we know that there's going to be a pullback. We know it's inevitable. There's going to be. So I was off on the timing and the price a little bit, but it is just a good opportunity. When we have these pullbacks, understanding how these markets work. In every bull market, you have these quite severe corrections where people get scared. It's meant to flush people out. It's meant to basically get you to sell your valuable assets to people at lower prices, right? And there's a lot of manipulation that happens. Crypto is still small relatively compared to the stock markets, for example. So we should look at these opportunities like we have now as what's a good opportunity here, right? And so I want to teach you guys this kind of just this idea here of narrative and catalyst, and then I will actually give you guys some alpha at the end too, like maybe a gem that I'm thinking about might be a really good gem, and then also just some other kind of catalyst narratives that are coming up, so you really understand kind of this idea.
Thinking about this too. There's only one winner in the ETF wars. Can you guess who it is? What name do you see on this everywhere? Coinbase. And in some of the private groups I was just in, some people said they're buying Coinbase stock because it was down quite a bit. But as you can see here, guys, Coinbase is going to make fees for custodying all of these assets. So they're going to be custodying tens or maybe even hundreds of billions of dollars and charging fees. They are the actual winner in this entire ETF war. And as you guys may or may not know, I was a private sale investor in Coinbase back in like 2015 or 16. Very, very.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, like this was obvious play here. The second that you saw this, now I don't typically, and I really don't still today invest in stocks, but some of them might be a decent play. Like this, when we talked about this on this show, it was at 140, and then shortly after shot up to 280, a 2x in the stock market in a short period of time. That's kind of crazy. This is when we talked about it here, and sorry, hold on, there you go. Oh, there you go. So this is where we talked about it here, and then as you can see, shot up to 283 or whatever after we talked about it. That was an obvious narrative. Bitcoin ETFs, and then the catalyst. And who was the outcome, the winner of that? It was the Coinbase stock. We can see here too, this is the runes. So Bitcoin narrative, runes, catalyst. That was a big thing at the halving that happened. I told you guys about the RuneStone, which if you did, now you've gotten many airdrops, and there's been probably, it's going to be something similar to me, what I believe to be like the Solana phone, right? Where people just keep airdropping tokens to that phone. I think people continue airdropping tokens to the RuneStone. So that was a good narrative, right? Bitcoin, the runes is the catalyst, and what's the token, or what's the play there? That's RuneStone, right? That was RuneStone. And now I have another one coming up for you in this kind of the same category that I think is probably still, I don't know if I've got ultra high conviction, but if runes does become as popular or more popular than BRC20s did, then most likely this thing's going to explode. So probably a lower risk to high reward when it comes down to low caps, which are always risky, and you definitely could lose all your money. Okay, another narrative, guys. Election season, presidential elections. You got two of the biggest memes in the world on stage, and of course they should be a meme as well. We talked about Trump here and this MAGA token. We're up quite significantly on this one, but again, the lesson here is identifying the coins early in the narrative and catalyst. So the narrative was politics and the election year. The catalyst was these two primaries running against each other, and you should have on the same. We also talked about Boden. I didn't go into Boden. That was my mistake. But if you were watching with me on this,
I don't know. It's I'm not going to buy it right now, but I do encourage you guys to see it. It's unique, right? Very unique. And they make lots of jokes on here and stuff like that. It's quite nice. Is it going to I don't know.
I should have known better. Look at, he is a living meme. Unbelievable. But to show you how early that we did look at that, we put it on the radar. And if you guys have been watching this channel, then maybe some of you took advantage of that, which is we did it 5 days after launch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So from here to I think all-time highs is 30x, but even from where we talked about it to now, it's still 20x. Phenomenal. So, and there's Trump. Okay, so here is something for you guys to think about. You have some new narratives coming up. One of them is essentially social media platforms and integrating payments and dApps, right? So on X here, we know that Elon is, I don't know, you guys must have heard about this by now, but essentially X is going to become like a bank. You're not going to need a bank anymore. You're not going to need PayPal. You're not going to need Western Union. You could just send money to people using X, which is probably going to include the ability to send like fiat and also crypto. Now, try to think about, so you have SocialFi in a way here, right? And then you have you have a narrative catalyst. What coins might benefit? Quiz time. What do you think? Well, let me know in the comments what you guys think. You should probably figure this out. Probably know this one. Another one in the same category is TON, right? And we talked about this recently as well. But TON Telegram has 900 million users, going for 1 billion quite soon, and you can do everything in Telegram. And they also just had this huge catalyst at Token 2049, where they mentioned that now USDT will be natively put onto Telegram, so that now you can send, like this is going to annihilate Western Union, MoneyGram, everything. You can send stablecoin to anyone in the world for basically free using the Telegram app, just by, like, how convenient is that? It's just, and it's free. Like, goodbye Western Union, goodbye MoneyGram, like goodbye wire transfers. So so you have, again, the SocialFi or these apps integrating the Web3 aspects to it. What is the beneficiary here? Let me know in the comments below what you guys think might benefit from the Telegram narrative. This is going to explode for sure. Another one that we have is, again, the reoccurring and ever-occurring AI narrative. We saw what happened after Sora was announced, explosion, and also after ChatGPT was announced last year, AI explosion in AI coins. I'll talk to you guys about the one that I'm most bullish on toward the end here. But again, another narrative. This will be the catalyst. And when that happens, you know what's going to happen. Okay, guys, this is Casey Rodemer. He is the guy who created Ordinals and now Runes. And this is the play that I was kind of teasing about here, like where if Runes becomes massive, which is, if you guys don't know yet, Runes is just fungible tokens on the Bitcoin base layer. But he says, he gave this hint before he did it. It says, my pussy in bio. You go to his bio, and then he says the first thing is AnarchoCapus, which is this rune that's printed here. And it's sitting right now at a $9.7 million market cap. Considering something like Ordi's went up to like $2 billion, I would say that this is a pretty good opportunity right now. Not financial advice. I did buy some myself. Take it or leave it. This is just also, guys, if you did happen to buy RuneStone, the Ordinal, you've now gotten at least 2 airdrops. This dog one, which is sitting at now $450 million market cap, and this Lobo the wolf that I just noticed today as well. So that was a good call. You guys know how bullish I am on Chainlink and CCIP. XSwap is the first cross-chain swapping protocol that integrates or uses CCIP, and it's if you guys are interested in participating in that public sale right now, it's happening on Ford Foundry. I thought that's quite interesting. And here's one of the biggest things of all, an update here, is that this whole, what does it mean to, well, the lesson of today is the narrative, the catalyst. identifying the leader or something that's going to benefit from those things, and ultimately following up with that to allow you to gain high conviction. So I don't even think this narrative yet exists. I think that Commonwealth is creating this narrative, which is decentralized VC. And we've had launch pads, right? And Commonwealth is launching on paid network. But to be able to get in early is something that this world has never seen. The world has never seen. And even in, I mean, especially in legacy finance, right? But the white paper was released today, and it's a labor of love, blood, sweat, and tears of everything that the team has been working on for the past 2.5 years. And if you guys want to build conviction in something, you need to understand how it works on a deep level. The more that you understand it, the more that you can have conviction. This is why I read the Bitcoin white paper in the early days like 15 times until I fully understood it. And it's only 9 pages long. But it was complicated for me to learn, you know? This blueprint, as we're calling it, is very easy to digest, no matter what your knowledge level is. It is incredibly detailed and tells you how everything works. I highly suggest that you go read it. You have the public sale that's going to be happening on paid network here, I think next week or 10 days, something like that, 2 weeks. So make sure you're following both paid network and Commonwealth. And because, not financial advice again, obviously, but new narrative. The catalyst is this alpha fund that they have, that Commonwealth has coming up, which is going to be essentially the first fund opening up, and the kind of deals that get put into there from the oracles. And if that all makes no sense to you guys, it's because you're brand new to the channel, and welcome. But anyway, decentralized VC, brand new narrative created by Commonwealth. And if you read the white paper, you'll see all kinds of brand new narratives being created from Commonwealth. You've got the ability to, anyway, I'm not going to go into them right now, but I highly encourage you to read the white paper. It's excellent. And when you have, so this is, the website has just been updated as well. One of the most impressive things is to look at who are the people responsible for bringing deals into the funds at Commonwealth. These are the All Street oracles. Look at the portfolio of the oracles that are going to be bringing deals. Like, are you kidding me? Like, every major project these guys have been involved with, everything from Kraken, Godzilla, you've got like Avalanche, Coinbase, Super Farm, Crossed Ages, Polkadot, Polygon, Magic Eden, like everything, Near Protocol, Chainlink. They were involved in the early private rounds of these projects, and now they're going to be doing the same kind of deal flow and bringing that directly to you as long as you're involved in Commonwealth. Sick. Now, when I said earlier about the AI narrative and the catalyst narrative is AI. The catalyst for BasedAI, which is actually, oddly enough, is PepeCoin. Now, I've talked about this plenty before, but I made this post last week, giving everybody like essentially what you need to do to completely wrap your head around what's going on here, and why this catalyst coming up is going to create, in my opinion, a massive run up for both PepeCoin and Based. So I made this, but this catalyst is this Kek.Bot that is being released by PepeCoin dev team. Now, it's going to be impressive. I had a chat with the devs last night or night before, and it's going to be very, very impressive. It's very brilliant the way it's laid out. It's essentially a trading bot, but it's also so much more than that. I'll just leave it at that. But this Kek.Bot will be involved with burning PepeCoin tokens. And then you have the brain mint from BasedAI that's going to happen also in like a month or something. That will also be a catalyst for PepeCoin, and obviously the BasedAI mainnet goes live at the same time, which is going to be a catalyst for that as well. So it fits in perfectly here, guys. And just to refresh your memory for the weekend, if you think it's a bear market, don't forget, you've got the ETH ETF approval in less than a month, Hong Kong Bitcoin ETH and Bitcoin ETFs being launched on Monday. China is slurping up gold faster than anyone. They slurp up Bitcoin next. China won't let people self-custody their Bitcoin, but they'll allow them to access it in a regulated way, the ETFs. Japan and South Korea literally next for ETF approvals. The halving is complete. Consolidation, then pump. Study history. US ETF inflows are positive again and will continue as things heat up. Only 450 Bitcoin mined daily, and ETFs are already eating up 1,000 Bitcoin daily, equals supply shock. With that being said, guys, have a great weekend. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.